My name's Dr. Jazz Gill. My practice is in Slough. It's a sort of medium-sized practice. It's sort of 3 treatment rooms. Started off with a single treatment room. I purchased the practice, God, it seems so long ago now. So 2005, just before the new contract came in. So probably about 15 years ago now. And it was just a single treatment room then. And we've, the past 15 years, we've increased it through to 3 treatment rooms now. And where I mainly do all of the private work and my associates do all of the NHS work. When I first purchased it, it was 100% NHS. Now it's 1/3 private and 2/3 NHS. And the private work really encompasses Invisalign. So I try and focus on Invisalign orthodontics basically. And the 2 associates, they're managing to do the UDAs and manage the NHS side of things. And they do a fair bit of private as well.
Right.
And, so 3 treatment rooms are running full-time all week. We have a patient base is quite widely diverse, reaching most demographic groups. So we do, like I said, general dentistry and cosmetic treatments. And we progressively growing, which is nice, and I can see the NHS contract value, which that's going to stay the same, but it's the private element is gradually growing each year, and we are progressively doing more and more Invisalign cases as the years go on, and I'm really enjoying that. That's something I really take great pride and take great passion in. I absolutely love that. I love seeing the smiles and that the treatment's complete, and I love the changing patients' lives basically, and it's something that I have a real passion for, and I love going into work. I'm one of those strange dentists that actually enjoys going into work.
I remember years ago my father said to me, he said, find something you enjoy, you never work a day in your life. And I think very few people ever get to that situation. And personally, I think orthodontics is an incredible side of dentistry. I think just by moving teeth around to get a different result is I think it's such a delicate, precise thing that just takes place naturally over a period of time. So on the 8th of June, were you ready and able to reopen on the 8th of June, which was obviously the date that dental practice were allowed to?
Absolutely, that's a great question. So we actually opened on the 22nd of June, so 2 weeks later. Mainly because I wanted to be sure that the practice and the team were completely ready and capable to provide a streamlined, safe service. Obviously, we heard, just like the rest of the UK public did, via BBC News, that we could actually open on the 8th of June. So that moment on, as we all, through social media, was a great panic. Wow, we are actually opening on the 8th of June. So I didn't actually open on that particular date, on that particular Monday. I wanted to make sure that everything was in place. A small portion of my team did go back into the practice on the 8th, and it took about 2 weeks to get everything prepared and implemented, including diary management, personal protective equipment, physical distancing measures, contactless options, and so on. So there's so many little things to put into place. So the last thing I wanted to do was be unprepared. So we made sure, we have got a fantastic team, we made sure that when we were open, we were fully prepared and we knew exactly what everyone in the team was doing. We constantly had Zoom calls during that 2-week period, and even during lockdown, we were having Zoom calls once a week, so that the whole team, where we felt involved, we knew everyone knew what they were doing. And we had some of our team were on furlough, so we wanted to make sure that we haven't forgotten about them. And but a lot of our team were still working during that lockdown period, because
I think that ongoing communication through lockdown, as a wider point, was absolutely critical. And it's hard, isn't it? You've got lots of things to get prepared for your own business to make sure you're ready. But as a leader in your business, you've also got a responsibility to make sure that everybody else is okay. You can't provide all the answers. You're just sharing what you know at that moment in time, but you want to keep everybody up and motivated.
Absolutely.
Also acknowledging that when people come back to work, it's going to look and feel different. So you can't really lay a path out. And so from when you got to a stage where you could treat patients, how's that gone? Are you busy since reopening?
That's a great question. You know what? I think everyone, all my colleagues as well, thought that we're going to be seeing a lot less patients. There's going to be this, we can't see too many patients in the practice.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've got a 3-treatment surgery. We can only have one patient in the practice at a time. So there was one entrance, one exit. So we thought, okay, we're going to be sitting around doing nothing. It's actually the complete opposite. We're finding that we're so busy now because obviously there's this backlog of patients of approximately 3 months where we were closed. There's this huge backlog of patients where patients are constantly ringing. So there's the NHS component where these patients are in pain, and the emergency patients coming in, which we were regularly triaging during the lockdown, and I was ringing them daily at 5 o'clock. So the patients were being triaged, the receptionists, we were answering calls, and then every day I used to get an email at 5 o'clock saying these are the patients we need to ring. We had a relationship with the pharmacy. We've got an on-site pharmacy, so we would just, if they needed a prescription, we could give them advice, analgesia and antimicrobials. So that was all happening. But then since we reopened, these patients, the pain was, we can't just keep on giving them antibiotics, so they needed some sort of treatment. So we got really busy with that. But also the other side of the coin is I was doing lots of virtual consults in the lockdown. So those patients where I was, because our marketing didn't stop. In fact, we were one of the few practices where we actually increased our marketing. So we had, because patients sitting at home, they're on furlough, they're spending more time online. So we knew that these patients also, they want to get their teeth straightened because the money that they're saving by not going on holiday, so they're going to be spending that money somewhere. So we wanted, hopefully with me, and we can see that. We can see that's happening now. And so it's non-stop. My diary is full with consultations. They've been waiting to see me in person since the video consultation phase in lockdown. My associate dentists, they're dealing with a huge backlog of patients all waiting to be seen since it's been closed in March. We thought, like I said, we thought it'd be much calmer given there are less patients per day, but it's actually busier somehow.
And would you say that is it the virtual consultation element that was the biggest factor that's contributed to your quick and rapid success coming out of lockdown? Was that the thing that has really stood out for you, that's been the making of you?
That's a great question. Now, the reason that from the private component, absolutely, we really landed on our feet first. So every day since we opened has been like an open day in terms of the private consultations. So because we had a whole list of patients who have done virtual consultations on, and they wanted to come in for their clinical consultation, and they were ready to sign up and start treatment. So we really landed on our feet. Whereas the NHS component, they were the patients that were in pain, that have been having their painkillers, their antibiotics, and now we could do certain treatments on them. We could put little temporaries in there. We could replace temporaries if there was some certain mobile tube. We could take those out. So we could do certain treatment on those patients, basically getting them out of pain. And we found those patients wanted to be seen by a dentist and not just have another prescription. And the fact that they were being seen by a dentist was really good. We're also fortunate enough to have a big enough practice to be able to provide a one-way system for patients and ensure physical distancing is achieved. So we have an entrance and a separate exit. We've now gone completely digital with all of our patient forms too. We're using DocuSign, and we have received lots of positive feedback about the services we've been providing and the measures we have in place. I believe it's something that would have happened 3 or 4 years down the line, but COVID just sped that up.
It's accelerated. But it sounds like there's been a range of changes. You've made a number of different changes, as opposed to it just being, and this is normally the case, isn't it? It's rare that people have success by just doing one thing. Quite often it's a layering of things that they change that give them the results. So you've obviously taken action. But I don't think it's just action, is it? I think there's also mindset as well. It's not just kind of getting ahead and doing things. It's approaching it with the right mind and really driving those changes. Would you agree with that? Is that a big part of it?
Oh, absolutely. It all starts off with mindset. You won't take the appropriate action without the right mindset. So mindset is going to impact your business, your service provision greatly, and the two come hand in hand, in my opinion. So without having that positive growth mindset, it's just not going to happen. So I know lots of dentists out there, they for example, marketing, they cut down their marketing. I sort of perceive that when this lockdown is over, you've got to nurture your patients. You've got to stay in contact communication with them. a great example of that is our newsletters, which used to go out monthly. So, but we wanted to increase that communication with the patients. So our newsletters we changed to weekly, so we could keep them informed and keep in constant communication with them. Yes, it cost us more, but now those same patients are coming back to us and saying, we love the fact that you had that constant communication with us. And now they're telling other patients from other practices, and they're coming to us as well.
And that's just the best sort of recommendation, isn't it? And an ambassador, a patient speaking word of you to a prospective patient is just absolute gold dust, isn't it?
Can't beat that. And they tell us stories now where during the lockdown that all they had was a machine at the end, that the dentist just had a machine. And I was constantly posting on social media that you've got to have that constant connection with your patients all the time, because it's going to pay dividends once this lockdown is over, because they're going to want to come back to you, and they don't want to be listening to a machine. Because if they get a machine, they're going to be looking elsewhere, and you don't want your patients to be looking elsewhere. You want them to be looking at you, which is why we always had a live receptionist at the end of the phone line. We had these newsletters, we increased our marketing, and that was very important to us. And that's not going to happen if you don't have the right mindset.
No, I must admit, we as a business, we did the same. We doubled up on our marketing, and we kept a physical team in place. And I think a lot of it is that it's an anxious time for lots of people, and sadly there are going to be businesses that aren't going to make it through, be them dental practices, Debenhams, John Lewis, whatever it is, they're not going to make it through. And I just think being visible and having a real person that answers the phone, just to kind of, calm down some of that anxiety and say, we're still here for you, we can help you. I absolutely believe that is going to pay dividends in the future. As far as how you operate, have you adjusted your opening hours? Do you offer extended opening hours? Has anything changed on that side?
That's really, I think you mentioned that to me before. One of the things we haven't done is change our opening hours. We felt we didn't need to. Personally, I'm the kind of guy where I really value my family time, and I don't want to be asking my team, because I really value my team, and they're the ones that have been sort of biggest sort of success for me in all of this, the way the team have been. And I didn't want to be saying to them, look, take your time away from your family. We haven't had a huge amount of requests for that. So can you open evenings? Can you open weekends? Because we've always been there for them during the day. That constant communication has always been there. So no patient is asking us, can you do these hours? Can you do those hours? Because one of the things we're saying is we're always available online. So just book a virtual consult with us, and we're there for you. Now, those virtual consults, they don't have to be during the day. They can be in the evening. But the clinic opening hours have been the same. They haven't been open.
Oh, interesting. So it's a bit of a hybrid model. In reality, you are offering extended hours.
Absolutely right.
It's the virtual consultations that you can accommodate in the evening. But the actual clinical time is the traditional times that you offer before lockdown.
That's correct. These are virtual consults I can do myself. I normally do them sitting over here. I know beforehand when they're coming, so I can account for them. But surprisingly enough, there hasn't been too much demand of the evening appointments, because I feel patients want to spend time that evening with their families as well. So they don't mind having that virtual consult. They don't have to travel to the dentist. They don't have to travel back. They don't have to take time off work. They can do it at a time that suits them. So we've got an online diary, so they can book, that day time suits me. The appointment isn't that long. Some patients are afraid of coming into a clinical environment. That all goes out. So it's very, very comfortable for them. And we get to build that rapport. We do the questioning process. We provide solutions. I can share my screen. I can show them before and afters. I can show them evidence. And they're very happy with what they see.
And the nice thing is, when they come in to see you, it's already like they know you, because they've already seen you, they've already talked to you.
Absolutely right. So whereas normally my clinical consultation would be 60 minutes, now it's just 15 minutes for the patients where I've done the virtual consult. Because all I'm doing is my nurse is doing the scanning, my nurse is doing the photographs, so I'm doing a little clinical examination. But the patient knows me. They know exactly what they want. They know exactly what treatment they need. I've seen photographs of their teeth beforehand. And all the whole consent process happens. If any x-rays are required, that happens. And then what they want to know is, when can I go ahead? What's the next step?
And I agree.
First, if we're not selling anything to them, they're asking us, what do we need to do next? So it's completely different.
And I agree with you. I think we were going to get there. I think this has accelerated the process by perhaps 2 or 3 years, but I think we were going to get there. And out of interest, what's your conversion rate like from doing a virtual consultation to that patient, then coming to the practice to go to the next stage? Is it good?
This is the great thing about it. My conversion rate on virtual consultations are 90%. I'd say it's getting around about that 90% figure. But when I first started back in March, it wasn't. I'd say it was about 50% at that point. But right now, I've had to tweak it quite a few times, and now I know exactly what to do. The evidence which I show them of the before and afters, we do little things like if you book the clinical consultation right now, then we'll throw in a free cleaning. So little tweaks like that, and then they want to do it there and then. And I can book the online appointment there for them online. So they don't have to make a phone call. It's so much streamlined and so easy for the patient. And also we take a non-refundable deposit. That can be done online. So the conversion rate from coming to a virtual consultation to the clinical consultation is 90%. The great thing is, when those patients come to a clinical consultation, the conversion's 100% because they're asking me, what do I do? And what do I do when I need to go? What's next?
They're already committed, aren't they?
Absolutely.
They've already committed.
It's phenomenal. It really
I think
is.
by virtue of making the appointment and paying the deposit, the selling job has already been done. The virtual consultation, if at some point there's an objection or they're not happy, they're going to probably back off and then might come back and ask more questions. But if they're prepared to make that booking there and then,
yes,
they're coming in to receive treatment, really.
Absolutely right. And also that time lapse between the virtual and the clinical, and even before the virtual consultation, I've got, which is phenomenal. This is the kind of things that really open up during the lockdown, is WhatsApp business. So they can communicate with me at any time and I can respond to them and ask me any questions. And patients feel comfortable when that happens. If they've got a question to ask me, I can respond to it. And the great thing with WhatsApp business, they don't get my personal mobile phone number, they just get a landline. So I can they're not ringing me at 3 o'clock in the morning or anything like that. I can respond to them at my comfort, at my leisure. But they've got the reassurance that they're actually talking to me and communicating with me, which is fantastic. And they really like that, so they can ask me questions. And they go and tell other people that you can actually talk to this dentist whenever you want. That, for me, it's phenomenal.
It's a really good use of your time, isn't it? It's a really good use of your time.
It's fantastic. It's absolutely phenomenal. If you ask me what would I like, well, for example, my accountant, if I had a solicitor and I could talk to him on WhatsApp business, I would love that. I would go with that accountant or solicitor straight away. And now they can do that, you see. And that's really changed things for me. And that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the lockdown. So I always look at a situation, what's the positives out of this? There's a lot of positives that have come out of this.
No, I agree. And I mean, the negatives, I mean, they've been talked about endlessly. Could you laser down? Is there one big positive that's come out of this that you didn't see coming before, or perhaps has just accelerated in terms of something that come out of you for the benefit of your business?
Without a doubt, I would say virtual consultations. It would have happened with 2, 3, 4 years down the line. Now it's accelerated. If a dentist out there is not offering virtual consultations, they're going to be left behind. And the whole process of we're being forced to implement a digital remote service. The chief dental officer said you've got to start doing virtual consultations. Things like SmileMate, where you can see the photos before the patient. They take photos of their own teeth using the smartphone. So before the virtual consultation, you know what their teeth look like. It's fantastic. So all of this wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for COVID. And we've talked about the negatives. Everyone knows about the negatives. But there are so many positives that have come out of this. And that, for me, is one thing which I would, without a doubt, say is the positive in terms of virtual consultations. Because bear in mind, before, with a 60-minute clinical consultation, we would have to take a larger deposit. It would still be a refundable deposit, but it would be larger. So there's more of an obstacle. Now with the virtual consultation, if the patient doesn't turn up, I'm still in my study, I'm still working from home, and it works really well. So zero time has been wasted. but they still get their constant reminders beforehand via text message, via email, which costs us hardly anything. So we get a very low DNA rate on even a virtual consultation, which is really reassuring for us because we've got that constant communication. That rapport has started being built before the consultation, and that makes a difference for us and for the patient.
And is there a particular patient type that warms more to virtual consultations and wanting to come in? Is it an age-based thing? Is it a sex thing? Is there a
really great question, and this is where Invisalign it really shoots out. So with Invisalign, we had the classic patient was between 20 and 30, sort of working class, and I'd say 95% of those patients are female. And those are the patients, they've at the moment, last 3 months, they've been working from home, and now they are working. They haven't got the time to come into the practice. They see, virtual consult. They want that straight away. And also with our marketing, we can cast a wider net where before patients would travel 20 minutes, half an hour. Now with the virtual consultation, it's not an issue because it's all happening online. And in the consultation, I'm telling them, this is how many times you need to come to the practice. The rapport is built, they're comfortable with it. And then, that's quite easy. I thought I'd have to come every 3 or 4 weeks, but it's not like that. It's quite easy for me. So all of that conversation is happening with me sitting right over here, and I'm able to cast a bigger net. I'm able to target via social media the ideal patient that I want to have. You can even target them by job, by age, by sex, and by every single factor. So your marketing is working much more effectively for you. So those are the patients that are coming to you because those are the kind of patients that are more likely to be saying yes.
Genuinely, I'm absolutely delighted for you. I think, at the moment, I'm certainly looking for success stories of things that are going well. Practices haven't been open for that long since lockdown, and it's really nice to hear how it's going for you. You've re-engineered your business. I mean, that horrible word, everyone talks about pivoting, but you've re-engineered what you do, how you do it. And I also like those little micro tweaks that you're making. When you first started doing those virtual consultations, you're not half as good as you are now, and there's more to come as well. And you keep adjusting.
Consistent improvement, and we're always looking at our results. How have we, what can we do to make things that little bit better in terms of our marketing, in terms of our feedback? If a patient says no, we're constantly following that patient up. So the 10% of patients that don't go ahead, even this is before COVID, there was the percentage of patients that don't go ahead. We're constantly chasing them up and saying, okay, we've got these guys, we've done all the hard work, we've got them in, we've done the consult. These are the ones that we need to be doing our long-term nurturing with. And we do find a high percentage of those patients within a 6-month period go ahead. It might not be the right time for them at that time, but what happens with these patients, they're not just up that buying ladder, they're not quite there yet. But what happens, they go outside, they need to hit another trigger, they're outside and someone's taking a photo or someone's mentioned or they've seen a photo of their smile. So they've hit that trigger. The next thing they're going to do is they're going to go onto our newsletter and they're going to click that link and say, yep, we want to go ahead. And those ones, they need 5 minutes then. They come in, we've done the consult, we've done all the hard work. They're like, okay, how do I go ahead with this? And they always say the same line. If I had started then, I would have finished by now. And I'm like, I just stay quiet. You don't have to say anything.
No,
so it really is.
I was going to say the job's done at that point, isn't it?
Absolutely. So it's important not to let go of those ones and not to let those slip through the net. And I find that when I'm teaching, I'm always saying this, that you've done the hard work on those patients. And they may have said no, but carry on with your long-term nurturing. Because they're the ones, when they hit that trigger point, they're the ones that are going to be the most easiest to convert because you've done the hard work. Yeah.
And has there been any changes for you as a result of coming back to practice? Have you reevaluated things in your world and in your life? Do you work in a slightly different way, or you?
I do a lot less clinical now. I do a lot less. I'm working over here I do a lot more working from home now. And the working from home is a lot of virtual consults. So I'm trying to get that balance now because remember, with those virtual consults, and I've got to see them and treat them as well in the surgery. Yeah. So I'm getting that balance right now where how many hours a week do I need to spend in the practice and how many hours do I spend doing virtual consults from home. And it's getting that balance, which is what I want to get exactly right. But that's constantly going to need tweaking. It's constantly going to be changing.
I suppose we've all worked in a way, haven't we, for the last 10, 20, 30 years, we've all been working for. We've all built up a pattern of behaviour of what work looks and feels like. And now for lots of people, that's been challenged. Who would have thought a dentist would be working for part of their week from home?
Absolutely right. But it's when something like this happens, it's the people that are most responsive to change. They're the ones that are going to thrive. Yeah. And we just don't want to survive through this. We want to thrive through this. But you've got to be very responsive to change. Whatever happens, I think, yes, there's a lot of negatives, but there's always positives out of any change. And if you can focus on those positives and move forward with that, then you're always going to be ahead of the curve.
I think that's a really nice way to wrap it up, Jaz. I think you're absolutely spot on.
Fantastic. It's been always a pleasure speaking with you, Andy.
Appreciate your time, Jaz. That was great, and we'll get it edited down. But honestly, I think you are a success story that needs to be told, because the way you adapt and adjust and the way you just get on with it. I think there's lots of people that can take real inspiration from how you do it and give them the confidence just to push a bit further. So I really appreciate your time. Are you doing consults tonight?
Not tonight, actually, because I knew we were going to be talking tonight. Right. So I want to spend some time with the kids, because you're going to balance it with the family, work-life balance. So I say to the kids, I'm going to be online from 6 to 7. And they say, is it another consult? Is it another patient? Yeah. But what's interesting is my daughter's just got into dentistry, so she's going to be doing dentistry.
Oh, really?
And she's listening to this, and she goes, Dad, I want to be like you. You make it look so easy. You make it look so natural. So in a way, it's nice, because they can hear this the way I'm selling it. I'm not sure of the sort of data protection side of all of that, but there is that side to consider as well. But they really pick up a lot. But my daughter nurses with me as well, so she's like quite interested in nursing. So before she gets into uni, she's saying, Dad, I want to do some nursing with you again. She went down to Lebanon with me as well when I did some voluntary work.
Oh, brilliant.
She did some nursing with me out there as well. So she's really interested in it, but she loves the wholesale side. She's really keen on that. So but
I think the nicest way is when you're not sold to. When someone just lays out to you the options, they tell you the benefits of what they can deliver for you, and somebody says, I want one. And it's that thing, isn't it? Your daughter saying, you make it look so easy. It's that thing about 10,000 hours, isn't it? When you master something, it always looks easy, because any fool can make it sound complicated. It's an artist that can make something sound really, really simple and easy and straightforward.
And that it's hard to do that. But the thing is, as you know, I teach Ashley Latter's ethical sales course now. Yeah. And I really enjoy teaching them. And because from the morning to the end of the day, you can see the change that you've created in the dentist, and I love that change. And you see them do the live consultations from the beginning to the end, and they're just different people. And you think, these guys are really going to go on and change patients' lives out there as well. Which is, you don't want to sell, like you said. You just want to have that conversation.
But we all know what it feels like. We all know what it feels like to be sold to. And when you're dealing with educated, smart people, you want to be able to give them information, overcome their objections, answer their questions, and then let them make the decision. And if that whole process goes really well, they'll make the right decision, because they've come to you. You don't do cold calling. These are people that have come to you to make an inquiry.
That's right, absolutely.
So as long as you deliver all the information, there's no reason why they wouldn't take it.
And you hit the nail on the head by talking about the features and the benefits, showing them some evidence. Here's a case of it before and after, very similar to yourself. And here they were 4 to 6 months down the line. Is that something that you're interested in? No patient has ever said, no, that's not what I want.
No.
It's so I don't like using the word easy, but for me, I absolutely love doing them. My favorite appointment out of all the appointments is the consultation appointment. So doing that virtually, I'm doing it sitting at home now. It's fantastic. I don't have to work.
But also, you're passionate about what you do, and you utterly believe in the services you deliver. So I think the combination of those factors are very powerful.
And that's absolutely right. And the questioning process at the beginning is really powerful as well, because you ask them, you get involved in why have they come here. They say, oh, I want straight teeth. I said, look, that's not why you've come here. Yes, you want straight teeth, but why do you want straight teeth?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting married. Oh, I had a photo taken the other day. So when you're presenting the solution, then you will say, these are the features, these are the benefits, and on your wedding day, you're going to have a really beautiful smile. And it becomes the patient's idea then. It's not your idea, because the patient's told you that. And that rounds it off perfectly. And it's got to be done and I can't tell you how much I love doing that. Because when you see the eyes in the patient, you see them opening, and they're like, that's exactly what I want. And it's just so much fun to do that. It's so enjoyable, and I'm so passionate about it. And then when you produce that result for them, they're like, wow, this is exactly what I wanted. And they'll tell 10 other patients and think, it couldn't be any easier than this.
Yeah. Oh, no, you deserve the success. You deserve the success. You've certainly put the time in.
Oh yeah, definitely has. It's enjoyable though. I've enjoyed the journey. There's no point putting the time in and not enjoying even that journey. So I've enjoyed it.
I think the danger is that the risk is you put all the effort in because you want to get to the end, whatever the end is. And if things don't quite work out, so just imagine somebody who would put all their effort into their practice with a view to selling in the first 6 months of 2020. They're going to be devastated because they didn't enjoy the journey because it was all about the end. And then the market conditions, the global situation worked against them.
Absolutely.
So I agree. I think every day you want small wins and you want to enjoy yourself every single day. If come the end of it, there's a bonus, then that's lovely. But you shouldn't work towards that.
Yeah, for me, it's about the journey, not the destination. I enjoy the journey. And if you're enjoying the journey and you're moving forward and you're growing, then there's nothing to complain about. That for me, that is the destination. The journey is the destination.
Yeah.
And keep that balance, the work-life balance. That's vital, because it's very easy to work too many hours in a day. I mean, I could be doing virtual consults till 10 p.m. 7 days a week, but it's good to keep that balance and making sure, like, if I did clinical hours Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and do virtual consults evenings and weekends, the balance would be all wrong, and that's vital to keep that.
But it would show in so many aspects of your life as well. Your home life would be affected, and ultimately it wouldn't be good for patients either, because you're going to get burnt out. So no, I'm a big believer that we do need balance in there. Lovely. Well, I'm going to leave you to go to your family. I'm going to let you go 25 minutes early, and they'll be delighted. I'm sure.
They will be very happy. Yeah.
Thank you very much indeed. It was good to catch up with you, Jazz. Appreciate your time.
Speaking with you. You take care.
Look after yourself.
Bye bye.
Cheers. Ta-da.